Welcome to Dodgers Daily down on the farm. So glad that you decided to tune in and check out the prospect action in the Dodgers system. Going to start as we always do with AAA Oklahoma City. Boy, it was good to see LA go ahead and finish off Colorado. Not going to lie, ready for that series to be over, ready for the day off, and the Phillies coming in over the Phillies series over the weekend. Ready for that. Also, very ready to see Zach Earhart get it going again. You remember Zach Earhart, James Tibbs III. They both came over last August for Dustin May, who was a rental. Another trade that the Dodgers just absolutely did a masterful job of winning. I mean, Dustin May's not even with the Red Sox anymore. The Red Sox didn't do anything in the playoffs. The Dodgers won the World Series, so losing Dustin May didn't keep them from winning the World Series. And they've added James Tibbs III, who has a 158 WRC+. And then Zach Earhart, who was a third-round draft pick out of Oklahoma State. Now, Earhart had a good spring training. He got off to a really fast start and then just really slowed down for about 3 weeks. I mean, for about 3 weeks, he went from like a 340 average down to about 230. So slowed down quite a bit at the end of April, but he's picked it back up in the last two series. He has he has hits in 9 of his last 10 games. Zach Earhart is 11 for his last 27. That's a 407 average in his last 9 games. So good to see Zach Earhart getting it going again for AAA Oklahoma City. Good player. Has the ability, I just love the competitive element of him. Has the ability to hit anywhere. He hit leadoff last night at Oklahoma State. He would one day he'd be leadoff. Next time he'd be 4-hole. Sometimes he'd be 2-hole. Just whatever the Cowboys needed out of him, that's always what he did. And then probably the coolest moment of the day, hey, look who that is. Let me back that up. You might not notice without the hair. That's Josh Hader. How about that? Josh Hader's actually in the Houston system. I think he's rehabbing. I don't know if it's labeled a rehab. I didn't check and look. But he is with AAA Sugar Land, which is the AAA affiliates of the Houston Astros. And Chucky Robinson, that catcher, that Crash Davis type catcher we've been talking about. I've got a chance to talk to and meet Chucky several times. Can't wait to interview him on the next homestand. Definitely the baseball is awesome moment of the day. How about Chucky Robinson taking Josh Hader deep? That was super cool. And if you haven't checked it out, I have posted every pitch on YouTube of the 2-inning outing of Jackson Ferris. Now, Jackson Ferris, velo 92-93. So this is a starting point. This is not what we want Jackson Ferris to look like as he continues to heat up. If you remember last year, he got off to a slow start, was really dominant for about the second half of the season. Got off to a slow start again this year, come to find out. He had a hip impingement. That hip impingement has kept him out for the last couple weeks. Nice play by Noah Miller. Couldn't quite get it to first base, though, there. So I have every pitch of the Jackson Ferris outing last night posted on YouTube as a separate video if you want to check that out. But last night for Ferris, 2 scoreless innings. First start since, again, May 6th, which is when I went on the IL for the hip impingement. So 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 21 strikes and 39 pitches. So the strike throwing wasn't incredible. And definitely he didn't throw enough first pitch strikes, which you can look at that one or two ways. Like, hey, it's not good that he's not throwing enough first pitch strikes. But then again, he was able to go 2 innings scoreless, only give up 1 hit, even when he was getting behind in the count. Like 80% of the time, he threw first pitch strikes like 20%, about 25% of the time. So 75% of the time, Jackson Ferris was having to work from behind the count. Still gave up no runs, still gave up 1 hit. So it's all in how you want to look at that. You can either look at it like, well, he didn't do a good job throwing first pitch strikes, or you can look at it like, well, yeah, but that just goes to show you how good his stuff is. So velo, 92.4 on the 4-seam, 93.2 on the sinker. And then for his third pitch, he split time between his slider and curve. So like, yeah, 4-pitch mix, but he kind of used the slider and curve exactly the same amount to create 1 third pitch in total. So good job there by Jackson Ferris in his first outing back since coming off the IL. He had been out since May 6th and through 2 innings scoreless. Again, not perfect. The velo's not exactly where you want it to be. The strike throwing certainly is not exactly where you want it to be. But good to see him back and good to see him stringing a 0. Another lefty that is a huge pitching prospect. This is Zach Root. Zach Root, not going to lie, he was totally, completely badass last night. 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 9 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Matter of fact, for Zach Root, the lefty out of Arkansas, who the Dodgers took with their first pick last summer, his last 5 outs that he recorded were all strikeouts. So as you're seeing here, the pitching backwards in any count, that's a 3-2 count. That's a breaking ball and a 3-2 count. He stole strikes for strike 1 with the backdoor breaking balls. He would get the hitters to lean out of their plate looking for the breaking ball in the outer half. Then he'd do that right there. He'd buzz them inside. So did a great job using his backdoor off speed to command the inner part of the plate. You're seeing every pitch of his 4th inning here. And then just swept the ball to the lefties, swept it away from them. And as you can see, that sweeper is so incredibly good that it's just very difficult for left-handers to stay on. And then when he sneaks a fastball up there that he's reached 98 with, it is an incredibly good arsenal. Look at that sweeper away from a left. That lefty's not even mad. It's like, I don't even know what I just saw right there. There is a backdoor breaking ball. There is another one. Stealing strikes for strike 1 and 2. Just a masterful, matter of fact, he threw, I think, 4 breaking balls in a row in that sequence. Just a masterful job of planning this out for the sequencing from the Great Lakes coaches, and then Victor Rodriguez, who was the one who actually put the fingers down as the catcher. Great job of Zach Root executing some very advanced sequencing patterns. Soft away, hard in. I mean, I know that's very simple, but the way that he got there was not. But soft away, hard in, if you can master that, that will never not be a formula that gets hitters out, especially when you can go soft away, hard in while pitching backwards at the same time and controlling counts and getting ahead in the count and that kind of thing. So I want to spend quite a bit of time on Zach Root and his fantastic outing from last night. And then another young man who had just another must-see TV outing, Alex Makarowicz. Hey, this guy is electricity on a baseball field. I'm telling you, he throws breaking balls, fastballs that are must-see TV. Didn't give up a hit in his 1.1 innings. And like I said, just about everything he delivered, you couldn't take your eyes off of. Look at that big breaking ball to the outer half. So the thing about Alex Makarowicz is that he's incredibly unhittable. I mean, he's as unhittable as just about any pitcher at any level, anywhere. And that includes major league arms. Victor Rodriguez, very good job on that breaking ball there. But it's obviously the command and control piece. I mean, look at that ridiculous slider. That left-hander's like, I don't even know what to think right there. I mean, that's a ridiculously explosive pitch, okay? But here's the deal. When you're as explosive as Alex Makarowicz, I'm not sure that you want to become a great strike thrower, because as you become a great strike thrower, hitters get more comfortable, and when they become more comfortable, then sometimes you become more hittable. I think part of his effectively wildness is what's making him so unhittable at this moment. Now, no doubt, you can't walk the amount of, he has 30 strikeouts in 18 innings. You can't walk the amount of hitters that he has walked this year. No doubt about that. His whip is 172. You can't have a whip of 172. So it's too much right now. He has to improve the command and control. But I think there is some level of that before you get to perfect that he needs to settle on, because I think the effectively wild is a good thing for him. So 1.1 scoreless for Alex Makarowicz, ERA down to 3.50, despite, like I said, his whip being 172. That just goes to show you, with a whip of 172, still only having an ERA of 3.50, that goes to show you just how ridiculous his stuff is and how hard it is to hit. 30 strikeouts for Alex Makarowicz in 18 innings. Average against is just 161. If you think that's good, that's actually 12 points higher than it was last year. Last year, Alex Makarowicz's his average against was 149. That is how difficult he is to hit. And part of it is because, like I said, he's effectively wild. And then part of it is just because his stuff is absolutely electric. Okay, so we showed you the grand slam of Emil Morales. I love this at bat. See how the count right here? I want to show you the count. The count is 2-1. So on 2-1, I want you to watch this swing. Watch how aggressive he is. He's hunting power right there. He's trying to clobber that baseball, probably to right center, but he is hunting for power. But then when he gets into 2 strikes, he just stays back and lobs one into center field and does a great job of situationally hitting. So I've said it many different times, but if you have that club in your bag, like Emil Morales is showing to have, where you can just lob hits to the big part of the field with 2 strikes, then you become not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. And if you have no fear of hitting with 2 strikes, then on strikes 1 and 2, you can become that much more aggressive because you're not afraid of being so aggressive that you actually miss a couple of pitches because you know you have in your back pocket. You can just do that right there with 2 strikes. So if you can have the combo of letting it eat on strikes 1 and 2, combined with just being able to situationally 2-strike hit like Emil Morales did right there, not only are you going to be able to gather more hits, but because you gather more hits, then you're going to be able to be more aggressive early in the count, which is in a roundabout way going to create more power. So I just love the evolution that we're seeing with Emil Morales. Of course, he had the big breakout game. Very slow start in his first week at high A again. Nothing that wasn't, anything other than what should have been predicted. The big breakout game on Tuesday, where he had the grand slam and the 2 home runs, and then a very impressive at bat. That at bat actually put the at bat put the Loons up 2-0. I believe that they actually didn't hold, and I think I'm going to go ahead and show you this if I can find the video. It was a lot of fun, okay, and I hated it for Nicholas Cruz, but hey, if you remember in 2022. The Great Lakes Loons, led by Austin Chubb, who's managing the AA Tulsa Drillers, they made this miraculous comeback at Dayton, and since then, the Dayton Great Lakes series has been just must-see TV. It's incredible. That's Nicholas Cruz right there. Went up, you had the rundown. So what's happening is it's the bottom of the ninth. There's the bases loaded, and it's a 1-run game, and so you have a play at the plate. To this point, Nicholas Cruz had given up a soft hit up the middle. The Loons had made an error. So this was going to be the second out at home plate. And Victor Rodriguez, and then especially the pitcher, Nicholas Cruz, took exception to the fact that the runner did not slide. We had the brouhaha. Then we had both benches were warned. And then, believe it or not, the Dayton Dragons won the game on a walk-off bunt. A walk-off bunt. That absolutely sucked. No doubt about that. That absolutely sucked. But here it is again. Here's the play. Again, the runner needs to slide. I don't think there was anything intentional. I don't blame Victor Rodriguez, who was the catcher there, for taking exception to it. I darn sure don't blame Nicholas Cruz for reacting the way he did. Actually, what happened, Cruz after this balked. He balked in the tying run, and then after he balked in the tying run, the Dayton Dragons had a walk-off bunt base hit, which really sucked. Okay, Ontario, not a whole lot to write mom about last night, but Jaron Elkins, welcome back. Jaron Elkins had been on the IL for a couple weeks, I think exactly 2 weeks. Last night was his first night back, 4 hits. 4 hits in his first night back for Jaron Elkins, and through his first 3 hits, all he needed was a home run for the cycle. He had 2 at-bats remaining. He had 5 at-bats total on the night. He needed a home run in one of the 2 at-bats, and instead he got a double. Okay, so home run away, shy away from the cycle. 4 hits last night for Jaron Elkins in 5 attempts. Hey, with Kellen Lindsay, who registered a 3.87 to first base on the bunt base hit on Monday. Now you have Jaron Elkins, who led the Cal League in stolen bases last year with 63. To this point, even with the 2 weeks off with the injuries, Jaron Elkins actually is on pace to have 66 stolen bases, which would be 3 more than he had last year, which led the Cal League. So try that one on for size. A little Kellen Lindsay combined with Jaron Elkins right behind him, combined with Chase Harlan, who hit another home run last night, which is his 3rd home run in the last 2 days, combined with the Myro Martinez, combined with an Anson Eros, and all these guys that are super impressive. If you have not gotten out to the yard to watch these Ontario Tower Buzzers, really at every level, I mean, it's must-see TV. AAA is more of the Quad A guys, but man, obviously you have the AA Tulsa Drillers with DePaula and George and Sirota and all of those, and Hope and all those guys. And then you have Emil Morales and Eduardo Quintero, Charles Davlin and all those guys with Great Lakes, and then Kellen Lindsay, Chase Harlan, Jaron Elkins, and all of those guys with Ontario. It's a loaded system right now. I think all the teams are very spread evenly in terms of, if you want to go see some firepower, which one would you go see? I think they're all fun to watch. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed today's Down on the Farm. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Austin and I will be on a live show tonight. No Dodgers game. We'll have a live show tonight. So until then, I want to thank you for tuning in and remind you it's a great day to be a Dodger.